Are you gonna run his license plate through David, ma'am? What is your name and badge number, ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am. What's your name and badge number? I'm not a public servant, ma'am. Is that not part of your policy, ma'am? Okay. Have a nice day, ma'am.
How are you doing, Mr. Koenig?
How you doing?
Good.
Okay, good seeing you.
Mr. Koenig, I
So
want to
you can only do it on Thursdays?
meet with you, sir.
Yeah.
It's my only day off this week,
Oh, okay.
so.
All right.
But I wanted to come and talk to you, as a citizen about what's going on here with the police department.
Yeah, I know. We talked the last time.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but there was an incident where a 91-year-old man
Very well aware of it.
was tasered.
Yes.
Well, I went to the city clerk's office, I believe it was last week, and I was going to do a public records request for any body cam footage and stuff like that, so.
Body cam footage of the event?
Yeah. Chief Lewis was talking about, having officers wear body cameras to record, when they have interactions, like with the public.
Right. But we have, I know we have cameras in the cars. Okay. So now you're talking something different?
I am. There's actually a lot of police departments, like
they have
cameras.
Yes.
And I believe this
on their body.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it records, their interaction. Say they get called somewhere. It records the whole event.
Yep. It can. Yes.
And so under the impression that they may have been wearing these, I went to do a public records request.
We don't have them.
Yes. That's what I found out.
Yeah, we don't have them. Not all departments do.
Mm-hmm.
I think some are starting to get there, but we don't have them yet.
Is that something that you're going to be considering?
I know there's a school of thought out there, pros and cons. There's pros and cons to it.
Can you tell me what your cons are?
Some people, citizens, like you,
yes,
and everyone else might find it an invasion of privacy. But the pros are that you even have more information out there on how police officers deal in a particular situation, so that if there's any issues that come up, they can say, hey, look at what happened, right?
Well, see, that's what I wanted to see on that video that I was requesting, because there's a general consensus from what I've spoke to with other people and seen online about that incident that it's very bizarre that someone of that age would be tasered by two police officers. So,
well, tasered by two police officers. Only, we need two.
There was two officers present there when that happened.
But you're saying both used tasers?
I believe one used them, and he said in the newspaper that he tasered him twice, and they had to dig.
But you just said two of them used them. One.
Well, I misspoke. When I meant to say was there was two officers present.
Yes, there were.
And that seems like an excessive amount of force. I mean, I happen to work, in a nursing home, and I deal with a lot of elderly, and especially ones that have dementia, and we have situations like that go on, all the time where they're confused, disruptive, yell, and we've never had to resort to that kind of force to subdue someone, and
you are aware that the police are doing an internal.
I am.
Okay. And so once that's completed and resolved, it'll be done.
Well, the point I'm trying to get across is the public's forced to accept what kind of explanation that they're going to give, because there's nothing to prove otherwise, and that's why I feel like these body cameras are really an asset. And on your facts about people feel that it's an invasion of privacy, that's an unreasonable expectation if you're out in the street in the public view. Now, there is some for people's homes or whatever, and I do know there's other departments that do have the body cameras, and they have policies in place where they get permission to enter with the camera and stuff like that. But
so you've heard about those complaints?
I've done some research on it. But 9 out of 10 interactions, or more probably, with police tend to happen in a public view. You know, for example...
Not all, but yes, many do, but not all.
Mhm.
Not all, but yeah, many do.
And I know that the department here, you know, in the last year, there's been several, you know, episodes that brought a lot of questions. You know, for example, there was the dog mauling.
Yeah, we know about the dog fight.
Obviously, the lady that was shot.
Yes.
You know, and this is a small community. I think, from what I saw on Wikipedia, the population here is only 16,000 people.
Oh, about 18.5.
Okay.
That's the permanent population.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all the visitors and the businesses and all of that. But the permanent population is about 18.5.
Well, I would consider that to be a relatively small community.
Yeah, yeah.
And to have that many episodes of conduct like that, you know, to me, I find troubling, you know, because when you look at Sarasota or Fort Myers, those are much larger areas, and, you know, they haven't been on the news like that.
Fort Myers?
Fort Myers Police Department, yes. But,
I don't know much about Sarasota, but don't use Fort Myers.
but that was also an internal issue, and what happened here, you know, happened to people from the public. You know, there was that man was hospitalized that got tasered. That guy's permanently paralyzed that got mauled by the dog. You know,
No, he's not permanently paralyzed.
he's missing part of his muscle. He can't use
Not
his arm.
permanently paralyzed.
He's not? Okay, well, my information on that's wrong, then I'll have to research that, but
You can research it all you want.
it's my understanding that he's paralyzed, like under his shoulder, he can't use his arm.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, obviously that other woman's dead. What I'm trying to stress to you today, man, is, you know, I would like to see some consideration done for body cameras, you know, like in the department.
So you want us to take a look at putting in our budget eventually,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not inexpensive. I mean,
I understand
you
that.
have to pay for them.
Mm-hmm.
The purchase of body cameras. It's been talked about. We just have not placed it in our budget yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
I hear you.
and, you know, I mean, I don't believe they're that horribly expensive that they couldn't at least have some kind of a compromise where someone could request a supervisor to come out and he could at least have one. Some way of recording these, interactions.
Well, let's go with that thought.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to do it, we would probably want to do it with everyone on patrol.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why. If you just give it to the supervisor, there are a lot of times when that supervisor may be busy and may not be able to get to that event until it's over.
Mm.
You know, is that really the best thing? If you're going to do it, let's do it.
I've had a lot of interactions with law enforcement, and when you request to have a supervisor brought, they usually bring them. In fact, with some departments, it's policy.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The supervisor will get there, but suppose that supervisor is only busy handling a call.
I would love all the officers to have that, but I'm just saying, you know, like if you guys had to choose between only, you know, being able to purchase a few cameras, you know, if the supervisors could at least have them, and then, you know, they got the request of the person come there, you know, to film these events.
That's a start.
You know, I mean, if the police department's, statements about, you know, these events that they give are true and they're all on film, all that does is just, you know, bring it more to light that, you know, that's what happened, and you can close the door on people that are critical of it.
It certainly will help the police department, no question about it. It'll help the police officers. It will also help the customers and maybe their family members or friends or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll have evidence of what's really.
See, because the camera doesn't lie, but people do. That's what I've come to
Camera
learn.
is what it is. You're
Yes. And I just believe that, you know, the public trust has really been broken here recently with the department. You know, all these events in such a short period of time. You know, especially what happened with, you know, Officer Cole. You know, he arrested a man for DUI falsely. You know, I was arrested by officers here falsely for loitering. You know, I've had several, you know, experiences here, and I understand that the city of Punta Gorda, they don't have their own jail, so they use the Charlotte County Jail.
Yes, we do.
Now, I can't hold you accountable for things that go on with the sheriff's office, but I do feel that it's fair to at least hold you guys accountable for what goes on at the jail, since you hold your inmates there. And there's been several episodes there, feces being put on inmates' faces and pictures taken and put on Facebook. There was another incident where they fired the deputy from there for taunting the inmate into eating his feces.
How could you hold us accountable for that?
If you're going to use their jail...
We do, because it's a county jail.
Mm-hmm.
Our taxes help pay for the jail operation. Those of us who live in the city,
Mm-hmm.
part of our county taxes that we pay support the jail.
But you guys are using the services of the jail, is what
Yes,
I'm
we
saying.
are. Because it's a county-wide service.
So, for example, what I'm saying is your secretary out there gets arrested tonight for a DUI. She lives in Punta Gorda, I'm assuming. I don't know that for a fact.
Who's that?
I'm just using your secretary as an example.
Let's say the person does.
Mm-hmm. And she goes to the Charlotte County Jail.
Yes.
And she's taken there by your city of the Punta Gorda police officers.
Okay.
And some kind of misconduct goes on in there.
Okay.
I feel like the city of Punta Gorda is partially to blame as much as the sheriff's office, since you're utilizing their service. Does that make any sense, or?
I know what you're saying. I don't agree with you,
Mm-hmm.
but I know what you're saying.
What I'm getting at here is people that are arrested from Punta Gorda and go to that jail are subjected to things by these deputies. So it's not just Punta Gorda, it's Charlotte County. I feel as a whole has some integrity issues, and that's why I would like to see these cameras that I've brought about to try and end those.
And you're not the first person that's brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it.
Well, what can we do to can we at least have like a public meeting or something to discuss this? Is that at least possible?
Well, I'm sure it'll get brought up during throughout the coming years as we talk about our budget and we see how the experience has been with others. Because this is relatively new, and other departments are going towards it. I think Fort Myers now is going to be purchasing body cams. Some other communities have held off for a little while, just to see the experience, see what experience has been out there. So, if you notice the dog bite instance, that was clearly shown on the car video.
Now, that man, that all happened because he was riding a bicycle without lights on.
Yes, we know that, but the car video was able to accurately portray what went on. You saw it.
I did. It was disturbing.
Okay, but you saw it. So it's not like we didn't have video there.
But had that happened in the rear of the patrol car, there wouldn't have been nothing.
But it didn't. Because he lined himself up and put the camera on.
And, well, that's another issue that I wanted to bring to your attention is, the enforcement of what I feel are very, very, very petty law violations. In that case, that was a civil violation. That wasn't criminal. He was stopping him for. And I believe it's really, has begun to alienate the public, especially when it comes to marijuana, like arrests, driving a car with, there's several things, with the cars. There's the registration, there's expired driver's licenses, and there's people being arrested and having their vehicles towed off, and, all kind of things that isn't necessary. I don't feel those things are building the public trust. In my opinion, I don't need the policeman, to go out there and try and stop people on a bike because he needs some kind of legal reason to try and get a consent to search to find drugs. There's a very high motivation for that, especially in the Port Charlotte.
Port Charlotte?
Right across the bridge.
I know.
They drive up and down the streets all night long looking for people that ride a bike with no lights, and they stop them to try and see if they can find drugs, usually marijuana. I don't think it's proactive at all. It serves no purpose, in my opinion.
Do you live out there?
I do, sir. And I'm sure I've heard similar things go on here all the time. So And my question is why? You know, why do we fill our court with that? Why do we jail people for that? You know, that person that was going home, you know, like on that bicycle, for example. I know a man. I won't mention his name. He's a colored man. Worked at a dish. You know, he was a dishwasher over here at what's that place next to the bridge? Hurricane Charlie's.
There's Hurricane Charlie's right over here.
Mhm. He was leaving work one night. You know, he'd been working there for a few months. Didn't have lights on his bicycle. Got stopped. They looked in his backpack and found a small amount of marijuana. Took him to jail. He spent over 4 months in jail because he couldn't afford the bond. Lost his job. Lost his house.
Where was he stopped?
Right before the bridge here. And you know, how does that individual feel when he reintegrates back into society? You know, all that happened for a little bit of marijuana.
Again, I'm not aware of this, but
I'm just trying to bring.
You're just throwing examples. You're just giving.
You know, I feel like things like that alienate members of the community. You know, if we truly want to correct, you know, the problems and build public trust, you know, in the police department, have confidence in them, want them to do a professional job, you know, I feel like accountability is important.
You know, a lot of people in this community, the people who live in Punta Gorda, they do have a lot of confidence in them. I am aware of that because I see the reports.
I mean, I feel like there's some who don't.
It's not going to be 100%. No way. You can never have 100%, right?
You at least want to see 97, 98, something like that, man.
That's pretty high. But a lot of people who live in the city have a high confidence in the services that they get from our police department.
I would respectfully disagree.
Okay. All right. You're entitled.
But, you know, like I said, I just wanted to bring those issues to light. And, I mean, are you aware that for misdemeanor charges, you know, like with the exception of, like, violent charges like domestic battery and things like that, it's not even necessary for the cop to arrest these people. He can simply issue a notice to appear.
Notice to appear. We do that with, when we do the team up with the Bureau of Alcohol, and we look at the various businesses to make sure they're not selling to underage. We do a notice to appear.
Well, you know, it's the same thing like what they did to Mr. Lewis. They gave him a notice to appear.
They gave him a summons, yep.
And what I'm trying to say here is that that almost never happens. I have not seen it since I've lived here in Port Charlotte, with the exception of one time with Mr. Lewis. And I've dealt with a lot of people that have been arrested by the sheriff and the Punta Gorda. And I feel like for small little charges like that marijuana charge, why is it necessary to handcuff someone, seize their property, lock them in jail for months? You could simply give them a notice to appear in court.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I just want to give you things to think about.
Then you give me the body cameras and the other things, and it's good information.
I mean, I just don't feel we need to arrest and take to jail every person we see that's done some petty little crime, like drive on a suspended license or drink an alcoholic beverage in the public view. Why? Do people sleep soundly at night? They know a homeless man and a black man and a guy on a suspended license are all spending time in jail away from their families. That's very detrimental to the community.
If you know, the homeless man, if they are causing a disturbance and we get a complaint and they don't comply, then yes, we have to remove them from the park in some manner.
You can't simply trespass the person and pour the beer out and have them leave. At least give them that option first.
But sometimes they don't comply.
What I'm saying to you is that I never see that first step taken. I just see the policeman come up, he's in violation, handcuff him, take him to jail. Why? It's supposed to be the country of freedom. You know, when I came here, you know, today, I saw an American flag out there flying. You know, it's gotten out of control. You know, it's become the country of jail and incarceration. You know, we have the highest rate of incarceration in the entire world. You know, I feel like it's gotten out of control and it's alienating the community. Another issue that I have here, you know, with the sheriff and Punta Gorda is, you know, why do they all need military style, you know, like assault weapons, you know, like in their cars? And you know, that to me doesn't build a good image with the public. Seems like they're out there to go to war. You know, like I said, those are just some of my concerns, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I know this is a pivotal point. There's, you know, that I understand there might be a chance at having a new chief of police here.
Well, we have to do our, as soon as we get the information from the state attorney and the FDLE, we don't have it. We'll do our review, internal review.
Well,
See where it goes.
you know, if that was to come to fruition, you know, that would, you know, this would be a great chance to change some of these policies and change some of these opinions and try and do a better job.
Okay.
And I feel like the body cameras, the quit trying to arrest everybody for the most trivial of offenses would really go a long way in building trust with the community and not alienate people. So, with that said, Mr. Koenig, I thank you for your time meeting with me today, and I really hope that you do think about some of the things we talked about here today.
All right. All right. Well, I know the body cameras comes up every now and then.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for coming.
All right, sir. No problem.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day.
All new on Wink News at 6.
The chief has been doing a PR campaign about, I'm open, I'm honest, anything you want to talk about. Well, he doesn't want to talk about these other incidents. He didn't release these other incidents until you had to go digging through like a madman to find them.
Wink News pushes to get memos from the Punta Gorda Police Department about Lee Cole, the cop who shot 73-year-old Mary Knowlton during a shoot, don't shoot citizens demonstration back in August. These are memos that have never been made public before.
And tonight we'll tell you about the memo from an officer who trains other cops witnessing Lee Cole making what she basically calls a wrongful arrest. Wink News investigative reporter Dave Colbreth has the exclusive.
This sort of stuff should be unacceptable in any law enforcement agency.
He was a one-man wrecking crew in Punta Gorda, and nobody tried to stop him.
Is he fabricating things? Is he making things up just to make the arrest?
3 longtime Charlotte County attorneys, all who have also been prosecutors in their career, read this memo about an arrest made by Lee Cole, which the Punta Gorda police never released until Wink News spent a great deal of effort and hundreds of dollars.
Just shows that the Punta Gorda Police Department was hiding this stuff. Every news agency in the country was asking for these type of documents.
The memo really hit home for Steve Leskovich because it was about his client, Jacob Hill.
You always hear about corruption, but then to actually read it and know that it happens to someone you know is actually quite disheartening.
On June 23, 2015, Officer Bonnie Buckaloo sent this memo to the Punta Gorda Police administrators.
They knew roughly 8 hours after this arrest.
Buckaloo, along with another officer, came upon Lee Cole, who had pulled Hill over for driving the wrong way on this one-way street. First, Cole had his dog sniff around the vehicle for drugs, but it did not detect any. After that, Cole said that he was changing hats and now going to try for a DUI.
He's fishing for something.
Buckaloo also wrote that Cole did not ask any of the related DUI questions and that she did not observe anything that would indicate an impaired driver.
Falling over, stumbling, no odor of alcohol, no bloodshot, watery eyes. None of that information is written anywhere in any of the reports.
Buckaloo summed it up by writing that Cole performed the requested sobriety exercises without any notable concerns, and that he probably should not have been placed under arrest.
It's shocking to read an officer's report that says another officer was seeking or finding a reason to make an arrest. Why is he even arrested?
Apparently, that's also what people in the state attorney's office wondered, because Wink News obtained these documents from them, where a prosecutor writes, I do not see how there was enough for a DUI arrest, and if that's out, then there's no probable cause to search.
I would bet $1,000 the state attorney had no idea that there was another officer on scene who believes that this was a false arrest.
So, the state attorney's office started playing Let's Make a Deal and said it would drop 5 of the 7 charges, including 2 felonies and the DUI.
DUI getting dropped? Almost never. I mean, it is a very, very rare circumstance.
I can count on one hand how many times a DUI has been dismissed prior to charges being filed. This is one of them.
When the state attorney's office offered to drop most of the charges, Jacob Hill pled to minor possession of weed and got out of jail immediately.
He pled to those because he was in jail for 35 days and he needed to get out. Who's not going to take that?
Wink News talked to Jacob Hill, who lost his driver's license for a whole year, his apartment, and his job.
And now when he's looking for employment, what shows up on his background? A DUI. Who the heck's going to hire somebody with that kind of record?
So, what did the Punta Gorda police do about this memo? It said it was successfully prosecuted with the means of a plea.
And I have to tell you this. Any department that defines this as a successful prosecution, they should all resign.
Without asking, the Punta Gorda police also gave us emails saying things like, Buckaloo seems to have an obvious dislike for Lee Cole, stating to other officers that she refuses to acknowledge him or back him up on traffic stops.
She's one of their current own. She's part of the blue line. You don't cross it. She crossed it.
Would he have taken that plea had you known about this email, this memo?
Absolutely not.
When I talked with Jacob Hill, he said he came down here because he's a roofer and needed to work year-round. Well, after all this, he said no one would hire him, so he had to go back to northern Minnesota, and he said, try making a living there doing roofing in the winter. When we asked the Punta Gorda police for an interview, we were told the chief will not be providing an interview on the memo you referenced, continuing the public discussion of Officer Cole's work product prior to the conclusion of both FDLE's investigation and our own internal investigation is unfair and possibly improper on our end. That memo, as well as last night's story regarding those other memos, are on our website at winknews.com. Dave Culbreth, Wink News Now.
I think that that was a sign of just arrogance. I mean, you don't need to double and triple check yourself. You don't need to have other people double and triple check you. You don't have to have a procedure in place. You don't have to make sure. Like, all of those things just make me sick to my stomach.
On August 9th, 3 dozen people watched as a Punta Gorda police officer shot and killed a woman during a Citizens Academy demonstration. Officer Lee Cole's still on paid administrative leave after the death of 73-year-old Mary Knowlton. But could it have been prevented?
Tonight, only Wink News has memos that were not in Cole's personnel file. After weeks of requests and hundreds of dollars spent, Punta Gorda police finally gave us those memos with allegations of bad arrests, insubordination, and policy violation. Wink News investigative reporter Dave Culbreth has the details.
Nobody should be running around this town with a gun and a badge with these type of allegations against them.
No self-respecting law enforcement agency that I've ever encountered should be tolerating this kind of behavior.
Those are two longtime Charlotte County attorneys. Both of them were shocked when I showed them these memos obtained by Wink News after the Punta Gorda police fought hard to prevent us from getting them.
Just shows that the Punta Gorda Police Department was hiding this stuff. Every news agency in the country was asking for these type of documents.
These new memos show Lee Cole's problems with the Punta Gorda police. But Cole's problems started in his rookie year with the Miramar police, where he was involved in 2 internal affairs investigations. This one, where he yanked a man out of the back of his cruiser. After just 1 year, Cole was forced to resign. He then applied for jobs at over 2 dozen police agencies near Miami. Wink News obtained Cole's application files from most of them, who turned him down. So he then redirected his efforts to Southwest Florida, where the only agency interested in him was Punta Gorda. It was a year after he left Miramar when Cole was hired by Punta Gorda.
Miramar got it right. The other 25 police departments that refused to hire him got it right. Punta Gorda got it wrong.
Cole's personnel file with the Punta Gorda police shows many positive things he's done. But then there's these newly obtained memos that were not in his personnel file.
When you hire somebody that was asked to resign from a different police force, they should be on thin ice.
The first incident Wink News discovered is depicted in this memo. It was February 4th, 2015, when Cole accidentally discharged his taser at home. He was never disciplined.
To have an officer not check his taser before he does a spark test, that is Barney Fife stuff.
On October 23, 2015, a supervisor, Thomas Kagan, wrote this memo saying Cole was insubordinate to him and questioned his authority.
I think that him being insubordinate to his lieutenant seems to kind of go along with all of the other misconduct that he's alleged to have engaged in, because, you know, each one of those is kind of him being arrogant.
Then exactly 1 week later, Cole saw a man riding his bicycle at night without a light. The man wouldn't stop, so Cole sicked his dog on him. But Wink News has now learned from this email that there was what was called a community initiative in place, where officers were supposed to give warnings and free bicycle lights to people instead of arresting them. The Punta Gorda police ultimately settled with the man for $60,000, and over $120,000 worth of medical bills were written off by a hospital. The Punta Gorda police also hired an expert who determined that Cole did not do anything wrong.
I don't care what they say, you know, him allowing that dog to rip the chest wall out of a man who was driving without lights on a bicycle, that's insanity.
The dog bite issue got attention around the world, and Cole said he was receiving death threats. So he improperly accessed the state computer system to remove his name from public records. He got a slap on the wrist from Chief Tom Lewis, who, ironically, illegally accessed the same system himself 5 years earlier and got suspended.
As an attorney, I mean, the Florida bar would be smacking me around something fierce, because you can't just engage in constant misconduct. He's got 5 or 6 incidents of serious misconduct. He's still a cop.
We asked Punta Gorda police officials for an interview about this story, and we were told, quote, "The chief will not be providing an interview on the memos you referenced. Continuing the public discussion of Officer Cole's work product prior to the conclusion of both FDLE's investigation and our own internal investigation is unfair and possibly improper on our end." Now, after all of that, that's not the most egregious things these attorneys say Lee Cole has done. That involved a wrongful arrest. We'll have that tomorrow night in part 2 of this story. Dave Culberth, Wink News Now.
drugs and stuff like the German jails, they would have, we got I'm a Canadian originally, we got 7 times more.
Will you do me a favor?
What's that?
If you want to record me, I have no problem with that.
Right.
But this is not a public building.
Last time we were here, we already discussed it. They said we could.
But there are other people here that may not know that you're recording them.
Okay, last time I was here, I asked if I could record, they said yes.
I have no problem with it.
Right.
I believe the facility is probably in the same mindset as they
Yep.
were last time. But just out of common courtesy, let people know they're being recorded, please.
You're being recorded.
Well, wait, everybody's here.
You have to let them know too.
Everybody's here.
Are you running? He doesn't answer questions, I'm sorry.
Can I answer questions?
No.
You just did. You did.
If you have any questions for me, you can talk to my attorney, Kevin Shirley.
I gotta meet Kevin,
know
man.
Kevin, too. He sold
He's
in my
popular,
house.
man. He is popular.
No, but he was the lawyer for the guy that sold when I bought my house 18 years ago.
You want me to sit here next to you, buddy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyhow, should be interesting. Good. You're from PUNTA GORDA?
Oh, did you meet him yet?
So am I.
Now, tell me you were Canadian.
This is John Sircan. This is Ian. This is the guy that's doing all the filming, going for public records requests and stuff.
Oh.
They like him. They like him so much they trespassed him.
They do. I'm very popular.
What was the latest video on? Looking for a trespasser. Jim Mello.
Oh, Jim Mello was trespassing from a real estate office for causing a disturbance in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And,
The only record you got was 2015. That was the one?
yeah.
Oh.
But they were giving the other guy like a hard time about getting the record, so, you know, I had to go down there and straighten those things out with him.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom. And by the way, we tried to get L.A. Daniels and the black people to come today. I'm totally serious. Totally serious. I said, let's meet here and have a conversation.
It's a shame.
It is. So.
The meeting's canceled. Maybe next month. It's gonna be same time, same place?
The meeting's canceled?
Yes, sir.
Why?
We're the community.
Feedback from the Trabia Woods community.
We can't be part of it.
You're not members of the Trabia Woods community, no.
Oh my God, that's a good point.
You've got your number. You just told me it's a meeting to discuss in the community, and now it's canceled.
Yeah.
Wow.
But seriously, I really appreciate you gentlemen.
No, but you told me a few minutes ago it's here to discuss a community discussion meeting, and now it's canceled.
Meeting's canceled, yes, sir.
Because I thought it was a community discussion meeting. That's what you told me a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we're members of the community. We like to be heard.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming.
When will Cole face justice? Will Officer Cole ever face justice, Mr. Lewis?
That's a great point. Ask again.
Will Officer Cole ever face justice, Chief Lewis?
What about Officer? What about Tom Lewis? So what do you want to do? Go for coffee? Let's not waste the time. I'm shocked too, man.
He just told me
that you're going to have a meeting, right?
And I says, what is it about? And he says, it's just a community to discuss things in the community.
Right, he wasn't specific on which community, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
But he said community.
Exactly.
I says, what is it, about? And I says, well, that's great. That's what we should have. It ain't worth it.
Okay.
Once they've got their mind made up.
All right, so what do you want to do? Let's not waste this. You want to do coffee somewhere or what?
Sure.
Harry, where's the closest place for coffee?
We could have just used this community center. We don't have to have anybody here.
I can't.
That's what I can't figure out. This is a public place.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you don't even need any kind of permission to
Right.
film? I don't understand that.
He's supposedly saying I do have the right to film, but I'm supposed to let everybody know.
I don't believe that's true in Florida. God we trust part. Like to find out what God they're talking about.
That is true.
What kind of trust is that?
So Ian, let's not waste it. Let's do coffee somewhere. Wait. All right, so John, you want to do coffee somewhere then? Where's the closest? Hey, I'm shocked too. Totally shocked. I'm totally shocked, man. So what do you want? You want to follow us or?
Yeah, I'll follow you.
All right, we're down here. I'm in the white convertible.
Okay, I'll follow you.
So where do you want to go for coffee? Let's not waste it.
Whatever you decide to serve out. Man, I'm just too easy to get out with, man.
He just shut the meeting down. He said we're not from the community, so he canceled it. So let's not waste it. What you want to do? Let's do coffee somewhere.
I'd give it about 2 or 3 minutes. These two just showed up for the meeting.
I know. Well, now 2 black people just showed up from the community store. They're going to have a meeting. I know. That's why he said maybe wait a minute. Oh, have you ever seen anything like this?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, all right.
Oh yeah.
Are you here for the meeting? What? Are you here for the meeting? Hey, I think we got a meeting, man. We got another one. Yep. Your door. Okay, he still canceled it? All right, can I give you my card then? Hey, the reason why I showed up and the reason why he's freaking out, I unfortunately experienced the corruption here myself. So 3 years ago, I started Charlotte County COPWATCH. I was the guy that was in the newspaper and all 3 channels where they illegally looked me up on the David system. Not to bring me flowers, but to do bad things because I'm exposing the corruption here. So that's why I think I'm shocked. He shut it down. So we need cops. You know we need cops. I know we need cops. We're trying to show people that we're here. You can hold them accountable. You can do different things. You know what I mean? Is it all right if I give you my business card? All right. So in 3 years, by the grace of God, I'm a Christian. The YouTube channel went nuts. 40 million views. 38,000 subscribers. In fact, I'll even give you my regular card. So I'm sorry that he did this. We seriously are here. We need police, but we were just here to let you guys know that we're here. If you ever have, if you ever need any help, investigating anything, or if you need a story to put out, because internal investigations won't do anything. We were the ones that helped break the dog mall story. We're also the ones that did in Collier County, 7 sheriffs beat the crap out of a white guy. He was in the hospital for 3 days. We broke that story. So we really are trying. Okay. We're trying to help. And sorry that it shut. We are shocked that he just killed it like this.
Okay.
So what was your name?
Reverend Brown. Reverend Howard.
Please get a hold of me, man. Do you guys got a card? I'm shocked. I really, really am. This guy right here, John Surcan, he helps the homeless over in Charlotte County. So he's going to let you guys know that he's here too. So he helps people there. In fact, you know what's crazy? He's the one that the guy that supposedly got away from the sheriff at the water and hung himself. That's his landlord. He knows the guy. This wouldn't have happened. Like the guy said, he knew the guy. He didn't hang himself. You know what I mean? 65. So, anyways, I'm sorry that it bombed out. All right. Oh, are we filming? Yes, he was supposed to be. That's what I told him.
So why don't you want to deal with us? Ellie Daniels.
Do you not value our opinion?
All right.
Is Officer Cole ever going to face justice, Mr. Lewis?
Why, who are you with? Just a regular person? That's fine. I don't answer questions.
I'm a regular person. Hey, Andrew, I wanted you to meet David. This is Vic's friend.
Okay.
Andrew.
Who are you, a regular
Andy.
person? COPWATCH?
No, I actually am. I'm
You're not a regular person?
Careful! Careful! Hey, let's not waste this. Let's do coffee. What's the closest thing to here for coffee? Here's my card. Because Sirkan's here and everything. You didn't even get to meet him. He helps the homeless in Fort Charlotte.
Oh, okay. How you doing? Hi. Hi. How you doing? Yeah.
Okay, where's the closest place for coffee?
See you later, man. It was a short meeting. Sorry, I didn't get more time.
I'm not sure. Let's go over here and we'll all talk.
All right, John, we're gonna discuss over here what we're gonna do. But be careful for those bike racks. You almost got it.